De mare.
Peace and great blessings, everyone, and salam alaikum out there, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening, and welcome to Africa Week 2020 in September. This is our September family reunion, and tonight we are talking to a group of family members about the repatriation to Africa. Diasporans throughout the globe who are returning home to Mother Africa. And so I am Tamara Dickerson of Asheville Hill North Wellness Center, and I have my lovely sisters joining me this evening from Global Green Book and Sister Aisha Kiva. And I'm going to give each of you a moment to introduce, a few minutes to introduce yourself to the audience and tell a little bit about yourself. So we'll start with, who likes to go first?
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay, thank you.
So peace be with everyone. My name is Aisha Kiba. I am from Washington, D.C., born and raised, and that's about it. It's much more to me, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kiddis, Washingtonian, raised in Fort Washington, Maryland. I am, my name of my new blog is the Global Green Book, which I started to start chronicling my repatriation journey, as well as leave tips for those who are considering coming to the West as a bridge between the diaspora and the continent. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. So one of the things that I am working is reorganizing and revamping my business, because I had a wellness business that I did for several years that I recently stopped because I can't do that business on the continent. So I'm in the process of working with young designers and creating manifestation mugs and t-shirts. And I came with that concept once I realized that's what I needed to do to get to the content, manifest my goals.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, good. So, and share with us, sisters, which countries you have visited in the continent, because I know both of you are world travelers and have done quite a bit of traveling around the world. So can you share with our family out there which countries you have visited and tell us a little bit about the impact it had on you, on your life? Kiddis, would you like to share?
Sure, no problem. As on the continent, I've been to 2 countries. I've been to Ethiopia. I was about to say Ethiopia. That's the Rasta coming out in me. Ethiopia and Ghana. Those are the 2 countries that I have visited so far.
In Ghana, okay. And tell us how what impact they had on you.
It was life. Actually, it was life changing. Anyone who has not stepped foot on the continent, there I highly advise, even if you don't want to move there, at least go there, because you don't feel at home until you actually land on the continent. You can feel the connection. The air smells different, and the food smells different. Even your swagger and the way you walk is different, because you have a different kind of freedom on the continent that you will never know here in the West as a person of African descent.
Hmm. Okay. And so, did you feel that kind of connection in both the East and the West, when in both countries, or did you feel it more in one than the other?
Well, for me, when I went to Ethiopia, it was more of a family trip. So I had young children with me. So I really I had a different kind of experience, because I was living there. I was, with family. I had my children, so I was more focused on mothering and, homeschooling, and so the experience was different. But I was living more like a native, as where when I went to Ghana, it was more of an educational trip.
Okay.
So when I went there, I learned more about my history before slavery, and it was more of a vacation and party, and no mommy time. I could let my hair down and have just a good time. And so the impact for me then, because I could actually take in things a lot more, even though I was there for a
Mm-hmm.
shorter period of time, I was able to take in things a lot more, but it was too short of a trip for me to really get the impact that I wish I could have received from the trip. Where I was in Ethiopia for 1 month and I was in Ghana for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Sister Aisha Kiva, you'd like to share?
Sure. So the only country in the continent that I've been to is Ghana, and it was definitely life changing. I didn't have any high or low expectations because I didn't want to be disappointed if I had any extremely high, and I didn't have any low expectations as far as things that I've heard badly about Africa growing up,
Mm-hmm.
such as the primitiveness of Africa and things of that nature. But it was a beautiful, life-changing experience. We went to places such as where we saw where our ancestors were held, and to come out of it was very spiritual for me, because to come back to a place where we were enslaved, and I know our ancestors were just so happy and proud to see us come back, and they never thought they would see that day. And what's funny is it was so much to take in when I was there that it truly didn't hit me um, until I returned back home fully. I remember I just broke down and got very emotional because I was finally able to really take it in. It was kind of I can't think of the word right now, but it was kind of a lag type thing where I didn't feel it at the time, but then when I got back, I was able to really feel it because it was so much to take in. It was beautiful. It was absolutely just beautiful, and like Sister Kittis said, it was certainly a freedom that many people here don't get to see. We weren't worried
Right.
about, any police harassing us. It was a huge, 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 huge type of freedom.
Yes.
And it was a lot
Yes.
of beautiful places that we went that were
And you know what's
so.
so funny, Aishi?
Yeah.
You didn't feel the effects until you came back, but
Hmm.
it hit me while we were there, because we went together to Ghana. It
Right.
Right.
hit me while I was there,
Hmm.
especially when we went into the slave dungeons.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh yeah. That was. Oh wow. I can't even put emotions on that.
E-
It
Okay.
was just so deep, so
The
deep,
the
so
you
deep.
can still smell our
Yeah,
sweat.
yeah,
You can still
Yeah.
smell our body odors.
Even
It
after hundreds of, I mean, it's over 100 years, you can still smell it. Wow.
yeah, it was serious, and because when you saw the conditions that we were kept in, and then you
Mm-hmm.
realize the agenda
Mm-hmm.
from on the continent, because we don't really know. We know how deep it was here, but when
Yes.
you go over there, you hear you learn about the, what do they call it, the sub-Sahara um
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh what is it called, trans-Saharan slaves, the sub-Saharan slave route, and when you hear and realize what we even went on, what we dealt with on the continent
Mm-hmm.
prior to even
Mm-hmm.
getting on the ships,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically looking at a year of like being tortured before you
Yeah.
even got on the ship, and being broke down before
Mm-hmm.
you even got on the ship. It's like
Mm-hmm.
and then weeding out the weak through the sport. I mean, I don't know what, it was a lot. It was a lot. So
Yeah.
it
It was
kind of let
very,
me
very,
know.
very emotional.
Yeah, it made me understand our resilience here in the West and in the Caribbeans and South America. We are a very strong group of people because we come from
Absolutely.
from a from strong ancestors, because to survive the things that we know, like what we dealt with here, is really, I'm not going to say nothing, because I don't ever want to belittle our what we went through, but what they did to break all
Oh,
that
yes.
warrior tribes, because the women and the
Mhm.
men come from a warrior class over there, and what they
Mhm.
did to us to break us before we got here, it was like, it's a history you will never learn in this country.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a history that we never even seen on their so-called movies and all those. It's a history you will never learn. You
Mhm.
Mm.
know. So I don't know, how was it. I mean, am I leaving anything out or exaggerating anything?
No, you're absolutely right. And I think another thing that, you know, that I felt from it too is the people who we went with. That's the first time I really put together that we're a tribe, right? Like I never thought about that before because tribe has the same culture. So
Right.
we are tribe. And no, I never hear anyone say that, but I felt like the people who I experienced with, not just them, but we just, even if we don't get to talk often, I feel this connection with them. And I feel like, wow, these are my people because we experience the same exact thing.
Mhm.
And that makes me have a bond, even with the ignorant folks who act a certain way. I'm like, well, they still my tribe, type of thing. Like they're my family. And so that's when I visited Ghana, that's when I really started to look at that. Like, wow, we experienced the same thing. Because when we went through what was called the point of no return,
No, we went to
we are
the point of return.
point of return. Thank you for correcting me. The
Oh,
point of return. And so the fact that I went through it with people that I never met before, but this is my family. Like they never seen any of them before, but they could relate because we all went through the same thing. I thought that was profound.
yes.
Profound.
Yes. It's like we created a new tribe out of
There you go. There you
having.
go. That's exactly what happened. That's
It was
exactly what happened.
I don't. It almost kind of made me understand how when the continental Africans come over here, because in their country, you see a lot of, I'm Hausa, I'm Igbo, I'm this. But it
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
made me understand how when they come over here, they forget all that, and they're like, we're
Mm-hmm.
African, we're one. So when we go
Right.
over there, it was like people that I probably would have never connected here. We were
Mhm.
connecting over there because it was
Mm-hmm.
like all these differences didn't really matter.
Exactly,
That's
exactly. And we just looked out for each other. Nobody, if anybody messed with us, we weren't having it. We
And
really
that's not
stuck
only the group
together.
that came with us. It was
Hmm.
African Americans that we ran into who were living there, who were
yes.
like, these are my people. You're not gonna,
That's right.
we're gonna look out for you all. It was like, oh,
That's
okay.
right.
It was
So
like,
let
no, we're a family. Yeah.
praise be to God. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that's the way it should be. That's how we should be
Absolutely.
here and in the UK or wherever we are as diasporans. That's how we should have that same unity, that same togetherness, that same sense of family, that sense of going wherever
Absolutely.
we travel throughout the planet. We should always have that sense of a tribe, as you said. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And to this, you said, did I exaggerate? No, you didn't exaggerate. That was your experience. And, I've heard
Mhm.
many people talk about their experiences traveling to Ghana or Senegal. And, they talk about the dungeons that they saw, but I never heard anyone express what you two ladies expressed just now about how it felt to you.
Well, I kind of took it a step level, like a extra step, because when I got there, like I'm learning to follow spirit, right? And
Mhm.
listen to what spirit is telling me. And I can't get into semantics with those people who are like, this, whatever their issue.
Mhm.
I'm getting in tune to what my ancestors are speaking to me. And when I got there, I, it felt uh like um like how you say, ancestral grounds.
Mm.
Mm,
It felt like
Mhm.
ancestral ground, and I had to respect it. So for me, I was like, I needed to know what my kind of as much as I could in that little bit of time, experience what my ancestors may have experienced. So when I did the entire walk through the dungeons and through the all the stairs and the things that we experienced, I did it barefoot. I said, well,
Mhm.
this is how my ancestors did. I'm gonna walk. I wanted to put my feet where their feet were. I'm trying not to get emotional because
it's
it's
all
a very emotional thing. To put my feet where their feet was, and I walked the steps. I walked through the captain's area because we're women, so we they had us all up in that area too, right? I
Mhm.
walked into their quarters barefoot. I walked into the dungeons barefoot. I walked those stairs. I walked, the byways, and I could feel them on my feet. I could feel it. And I was telling Aishi, days later, I could still feel the ground on my feet.
Mhm.
And I kept telling Aisha, I was like, I can still feel the ground. I kept saying, I said, I still can feel the ground. It was kind of haunting, you know.
Mm. Mm.
It was really haunting because
Mm.
I really didn't understand why. Like the bottom of my feet, I could feel every rock, every crevice on the bottom of my soul. And I was like, I was like, I need to come home because we have been lied to so much about our
Mhm.
home and and what our home represent. And then I came there and seen for my own self what it really was and was able to take in everything that my ancestors went through to leave, and they did not want to leave. Nobody wanted to
Mhm.
come over here.
That's
Yeah,
right.
especially under those circumstances.
That's right.
Who would?
That's
Yeah,
right.
You
sure.
Right.
know, and the thing was showed me like history, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's why it became so important for me to like, it's time to go. It's time to go because experience that and seeing, they had a children's library. Remember the children's library, the
Mhm.
Aishi?
Mhm.
And the children's library, they had a children's library, but underneath of it is where they put the children in the dungeons,
Mm.
Mm,
right? They had several churches, and over each church, they had the men's quarter, the dungeon. So they were praying and praising God while we
Mhm.
were in these dungeons, screaming and crying and
Mhm.
dying, and
Mhm.
these rooms probably were no bigger than what 12 by 14, and they
mm,
would cram about 200 people in these rooms. And then they had the lights, the windows in there. But even with the windows, it was like you couldn't even see your nose.
Oh, it's the dark.
Even with the wind, you could see the light, but you couldn't see nothing in the room.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't see. And once they turned them light off and we saw the conditions, we were standing next to each other and couldn't even see each other. You know, they had in the ground like this thing that like the ground was caved like this, chiseled, so where they pour food in there and whoever could get to it, and it went around the edge of the wall. And so you're eating this, defecating, menstruating, you know, on the same
Floor.
So it was like, okay. It really kind of gave light to me, like, okay, I see what we went through and how we went through, and the what was really hard when you realize when they told us that the goal was to kill as many Africans as possible. It wasn't to kidnap as many. It was to kill as many they could possibly kill so they could see who would be the strongest to survive the ship. So the rooms would go from one size, then smaller, and then once you got to the smallest room, then those people got put on the ships.
I see. So it was definitely a soulful impact listening to you two share your experiences in Ghana. Why the need for repatriation? Why do you think there's this movement at this time with the people, with diasporans, as I call them, as Africans throughout the world? Why is there such a great movement at this time for repatriation? Why do you think that is?
I personally think it is because of the climate of what's going on in America, and not only in America, but around the world. I think, African Americans are definitely, it seems to be the catalyst. I was just mentioning to my mom how Jamaica and African Americans are so powerful, we don't even know, or some Caribbean people are so powerful and we don't even know how the world is watching us, because people tend to look towards America, unfortunately, but fortunately in this case, because we're having a huge impact on the world. And so people are tired of, mistreatment. I know for me, born and raised here, I feel a certain level of coldness. When I go to the park, when I go to the mall, when I go anywhere, I don't feel completely comfortable. And this is coming from a person who outwardly, I'm not, biracial or anything, but outwardly, I want to say you can say I appear more European or more less threatening, and I feel that way. So I can't imagine how other people feel. I'm sure it's way worse for them, but people just don't feel like this is their home. People have been here for many generations and just don't feel like it's their home. People are being slaughtered. People are being abused. Families are completely torn apart. People are getting divorced left and right. The climate here is extremely, extremely toxic and extremely, extremely draining. And like I said, when you navigate throughout America, wherever whatever particular state you born and raised in, you don't feel a sense of this is your home. You don't feel a sense of comfort. And I'm speaking for myself, and I'm assuming that, most people who are born and raised here feel the same way. It feel like you're a stranger in your own land type of thing, because for those who are born and raised here. So I think people are tired, and also they feel like, in order to save their life or their offspring, that they have to, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know, I just
so,
kind of wanted to piggyback on that. Like for me, I had the blessing of taking my children to Africa and really experiencing what a village is like. My husband at the time, I remember we had to take care of some business, and here when you're taking care of some business, you're like, okay, and you can't take the kids. You're trying to line up babysitters and, try and, see how much this one charge and this one, take the food, pack it up. So when I was over there, he's like, we had to make our run. And I was like, well, what about the kids? And he was like, just leave them. And I'm like, but wait a minute, who's going to watch them? He was like, the neighbors will watch them. They'll feed them. And I was like, my American self, I was like, wait a minute, those are my babies because they were 6 and 10.
Right.
And he was like, because he was Ethiopian, and he was like, they'll be all right. And then I just got up, and they were like, oh, just go. I didn't have to worry about food. I didn't have to worry about money, because it's like we kind of just looked out for each other, and I just wasn't used to that. It was really foreign, and I lost my mother fairly young, so by the time I had my daughters, I didn't have that support system.
mm-hmm.
And so, my support system was really like my friends, and here as we're all young mothers, so everyone's trying to deal with their own struggle. So the community here was a little different. So it was like I said, oh, okay, this is what it's like. And then, you don't really know what family is until you go to Africa. Like we'll talk about, oh, we got a big family. You talk about your cousins and all your, but when you go to Africa, it's like an entire village, like a city, and they're all related. And when I first experienced it, I was like, I was like, all these are your family. I'm like, how can all these people be your family? Because here you're like used to what you're dealing with here. And so, I'm like, how? I'm like, are they really your family? Like, yeah, but that's the beauty of Africa because they didn't have the relationships ripped apart like we did here in America. And so, that was something beautiful that I'm glad my children were experiencing, and we would come home and I was like, did you eat? They were like, yeah. And they would be out playing and, they would play, it would be kids for them to play with and, just free. And it was like, when we had to come back, I thought I was feeling it. My girls were like, they didn't want to come back here.
Oh, wow.
They didn't want to. They was like they wanted to stay in Africa because it was a different kind of freedom, and they were still doing schooling, still being educated because I was homeschooling. None of that changed, but it was a certain kind of freedom, and I think they saw a certain kind of relaxation in their mother that they probably never seen before. You know, so if you have children, I'm gonna tell you that's the best little ones. That's the best place, especially if you move into a community that will adopt you because people there adopt you. It's so much different. I remember my daughter, was a little issue. I can't remember exactly what happened. And she was running down the street and they, the people just grabbed her and it was like, and I was like, being very American. And the lady grabbed me. She was like, no. Like, she's okay. And I was like, who is this woman grabbing my daughter? But it was like, it kind of made me realize, like, decompress, decompress, don't leave your American ways in America and, decompress. So by the time I left Ethiopia, I was very relaxed. I was more, loving and hugging and less of a disciplinarian, because I had help. I had a community. I actually experienced the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. We say that here. And as much as I love my family, I appreciate my family here. I have a great family here, but we're spread, we're
Mhm,
really
mhm,
spread.
mhm,
And even though people are spread there, but because the family is so extensive there, your family is everywhere.
mhm.
It was something I just never could fathom until I actually got there and witnessed it and experienced it. And I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Mhm.
We will never have that here. It's not set up for that here in this country.
I
This
agree.
country is
That's
not
true.
set up for it. I mean, this country is
Absolutely.
that what it's famous for, tearing families apart. So to
Absolutely.
go someplace where it focused on bringing families together and adopting you and bringing you into their family, it was really amazing.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful here, especially as a mother, and all three of us are mothers, and to know,
Mhm,
to have a sense of security and live somewhere where your children will be safe, or someplace where you're not constantly, like you said, looking over your shoulder and worrying about who they're with or who they're around, because that's something that as mothers we have to think about all the time.
Hmm.
absolutely.
You
Now, I
know,
Absolutely.
don't want to romanticize it. There's crime and bad people everywhere.
Absolutely.
yeah,
It is. And I want to put that disclaimer out because people are like, well, this stuff that happens everywhere.
Mhm,
Yes, it
mhm,
is. And what I learned was what this country does is focus on propaganda, and it only shows you the bad things of other countries and then only focuses on the good things of this country, where
exactly.
actually I see more bad things happening here than I
Yeah.
did when I was in Ethiopia. Like,
Mhm,
one of the things was like I kept asking about, crime. Like I was like, well, how you all call the police? I was concerned about that because I had these kids. I was like, well, how you call 911? They're like, oh, we got the dogs. And I was like, but what if someone kills the dog? They were looking at me like, what is she talking about? And they kept telling me, they were like, look, we look down upon that. If I can't remember the word they used, but they said if someone screamed, it was in their language, thief, you're gonna see all your neighbors come out and tackle that person. It's like they are their own police. So
mhm,
they look down. So there is crime, but because it's looked down upon, you find more the community would jump in and
mhm,
stop it. They're like, no, we don't deal with that. It's like looked down upon. And that goes with, all, whatever crime you want to think about. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen because
mhm.
there's bad people everywhere, but it's looked down upon, and people are going to think more about it because you're going to have more of the community jumping in and
mhm,
correcting that bad behavior.
So more of a sense of community. Okay, good.
Hmm. Yes, because I even had some issues and my family jumped in, and I was like, oh, okay. And they made sure everything was straight, and I'm like, okay, thank you.
mhm.
Wonderful. Good.
Hmm.
Sisters, have either one of you chosen a country that you want to repatriate to yet? We have a comment from Tokwasi Rushi. Please forgive me if I did not pronounce your name right. Consider repatriating to Gambia in 2021. And so I know we've had our own conversations about that, but are there any particular places that you're choosing? And if so, why?
Well, I'm looking at several countries. Gambia. I would love to go to Gambia. Um, Reason being is because I know that there's starting to be an influx of African diasporas, and one particular African diaspora, she set up shop there, so to speak. And so it's important for me to go to kind of go somewhere where something is already kind of set up, even though that's not. It's pretty important to me, but if that's not the case, that's okay too. Um, I would love to go to Senegal. Reason being is I have family members who have some connections there, and I've heard really good things about Senegal. I've asked one of my friends who travel all throughout the continent, and I asked this particular person, out of all the countries they traveled to, what country was the best for them, and they said Senegal. So that really um, left a mark on me when they named that country. Um, Tanzania. I'm so used to saying Tanzania, but I think the correct way of saying it is Tanzania. I would love to go there. Um, Reason being, it just looks like a very beautiful country. Again, I've seen some people on YouTube or go there, and they just seem like it just seemed like it's paradise. Egypt to visit, but not necessarily wanting to live there per se. But so I'm looking at some East African countries and some West African countries. I will be wrong if I did not mention Nigeria, which I found out that on my mom's side, mom's side, that lineage is African Yoruba and Fulani. So I definitely have to go to Nigeria just based on that, and just based on, Nigeria is a pretty popular country in Africa in terms of the culture, the language, the religion, the music, and things of that nature. So it's a lot of countries I want to visit, like Angola,
It's
but in terms of
54 countries to
living,
choose.
I know it's so
4
many
countries to
countries to
choose from.
choose.
So many
You know,
choices.
that's right. The more I talk, I'm like, oh, that I'm about to name all 50 something countries, if you have me on here long enough. But there's certainly countries that I want to live in, you
Mhm.
know. Not to throw shade in Nigeria, and now that it's officially in my bloodline, I can kind of talk about it more than people who ain't from there. But um, I've never thought of living there. But hey, when I visit, I may completely change my mind. So this is for me, it's an ongoing, evolving process, where one particular country, at first I really had it set out for Gambia, and that thought is shifting. So you may talk to me a year from now and I may say I want to live somewhere else. But currently the places I'm looking to live, possibly Gambia, Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda. But I definitely want to visit every single country in Africa, certainly.
Wonderful. Much success to you on that journey. That sounds like an awesome journey. I hope you make it to all of them. What about you, Sister Cadell?
Inshallah.
You know, it's been a challenge because I've been doing some researching, and it's like every time I research a country, I fall in love with that country, with what I'm researching. Because I no longer allow the lies to distract me like they used to when I was younger. Like Tarzan's the only one that can talk to the animals. Like, really, this Manzungu can come in and take control of. Okay. So the more I've been studying, like some of the countries that are definitely I have to make it a priority to step foot on is Senegal, because my grandfather is from Senegal, by way of Martinique. I have a cousin who I look up to. She has a house in Cape Verde. And so I definitely, it doesn't even, if I don't go to Cape Verde at least, because I have family there, to go visit with her and just see how Cape Verde is. And then I found out that I have, through my grandmother's lineage, that I am Mende tribe, Mende people through Sierra Leone. So one of the things that I recently discovered about Sierra Leone, I think in like 2017 or 18, I can't remember what year, they updated their citizenship law. So it now includes those people who get their ancestry through ancestry.com, African and specifically African ancestry.com, because they focus through your matriarchal or patriarchal gene. So that goes from mother to mother to mother, the matriarchal, or father to father to father, son to father to father to father. So, and it pinpoints what country, what tribe you are actually are, so you can actually know your traditions. So, I definitely would. I think I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth if, that I do have the opportunity of getting dual citizenship in Sierra Leone. But for repatriation, it's been a challenge because it's like I said, it's 54 countries to choose from. But some of the countries that have stuck out, I love Ghana, and I have some projects that I have in my mind that I really want to work on, that I plan on manifesting. And I've talked with both of you all in regards to creating, like my own little villages. And I would like to kind of create one in one country, then move to another country and move to another country, as God will, as Allah will permit me to. So, one of the countries I was definitely looking at was Gambia, because Gambia is definitely one of those countries that is making it, that I just been seeing a lot about it, just about how green the land is, and it's near a water source. And I'm also looking, it's like Gambia, Nigeria. Nigeria has been, with all the spiritual aspects that I've been seeing with it, with Osun, and, because I'm really falling back into my, getting back with my ancestral beliefs. I'm really focusing on relearning those things, because when I went over there, I could feel the power in it. And I'm like, we're disconnected because we have, been brainwashed. And I have to be really careful how I say this, but because I don't want to offend people. Religion here has been used to take away us from our natural source and energy. And I found when I went to Africa, I found a connection to that source that I never felt here. Especially when we went to the last bath, and I did my wudu in the waters, and everyone was like, "Don't do your wudu." I did my wudu in those waters, and I just felt the connection when I did my prayers, and I was like, I need to get back to my, getting connected back to nature, and once so. Nigeria, has been resonating with me as far as that Nigeria and Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Tanzania. So I have some choices there, but those are the ones that have been popping out for me. But I'm kind of letting myself just trust, you know, trust my work, and let my work guide me, and and it will be revealed eventually, because right now it's all the countries have beauty. Rwanda, Uganda, they all have something to offer. They're beautiful. I was just looking up Angola, like, just amazing on all the wealth and the riches, and it's like anywhere you go, if they need a a barbershop, they probably need 100. If they need a cleaning service, they need 100. If they need an ice making machine, they need 100 ice making machines. The opportunities there to build as an entrepreneur is endless. It's endless, and it's just about open up your imagination. And that's one of the things we've been stagnant here, because we are trained and programmed from an early start to get an education to go work for someone else. And only that 1% has been trained and educated to be the employers and to employ everyone else. And I'm like, when I saw the entrepreneurship spirit when I was in Ghana, I was like, the hustle. It reminded me of the hustle that we see here, that we get killed to do. You know, like, the brother who got killed doing sick, just working, the brothers who go sell water. We have a natural entrepreneurship spirit in us, and I saw it, in Ghana, because I was like, I said, if they were in America, they would get killed for doing this. Just working, taking care of their family. And I just saw like the opportunity there is endless, because then our third eyes can open, and then we can actually tap into those things that is natural for us. Because I'm a serial entrepreneur, but it's just been a struggle in this country, plus mothering and working full time. So I just see endless opportunities in Africa, endless opportunity, endless opportunity. Anyone who wanted to start something, go to Africa and start it. Endless opportunities. It's amazing. When I saw all the opportunities, I'm like, you want to open up a construction company, go to Africa. They need construction company. You want an electrician, they need electricians. They need electricians. You want to have your own telephone, everything, you name it, they need it.
Speaking of opportunities, when you sisters make your repatriation and your exodus back to the motherland, what do you plan to offer the countries that you're planning to move to? Do you have something in place that you plan on doing?
For me, I plan on offering employment. I know that I've heard from many people that you can't go to Africa expecting job opportunities. You more so have to create it yourself. And so I really plan to, help the continent or give that back to them in terms of employment. Hopefully me and Sister Kiddis and possibly you, Tamara, can do some maybe entrepreneurial things, but I like fashion, so it'd be nice to make dresses and make, different things and sell it here. So I'll be helping to employ people by having them to, put dresses together. Also, my background is multitude of things, but one thing that stick out for me is customer service. I've always been big on giving people, good customer service. That's very big for me, and making them feel like how I want to feel. And we learned a lot of bad things from Europeans, but one thing that we learned, which I think is good, is customer service. So, I plan to give that to people on the continent, along with employing them, because I do not plan on driving, and many other things. I want to help them with. Also, they've been on the land for thousands of years, so they know the land like the back of their hand. All praise to God for that. And so I plan on utilizing the people in these different countries to use medicinal things to maybe help put in products to heal people, because I really am into healing through natural herbs and stuff. And I know Africa, the continent, has a plethora of just healing trees and plants. And so I plan to speak to the people, and they can teach me what is this and what is that, and I can possibly sell it to
They
people
know
here.
everything.
I know. It's like a one-stop shop. It's like a one-stop shop for everything.
Like, when we were there, like the malaria, like everyone kept saying, because I didn't go with malaria. I think I was like one of the only people. They would look laughing at me. But when we were in Ghana, we met this brother, and he was showing me. He was a Muslim brother, and he was showing me the trees. He said, "Just take these leaves," and he was showing me a tea, and he said, "Just drink this every day, and that helps with malaria."
Yeah.
They have neem trees all through the city. Just these trees alone kept the mosquito. We didn't get. Did you get bit by mosquitoes?
No, which is so crazy, because I would think that I would have. I don't remember, because that would have stuck out, saying, "Oh gosh, the mosquitoes tore me up," and I don't remember anybody complaining about mosquitoes.
I didn't get bit one time by a mosquito, because all through Ghana they have these trees, and they kind of the leaves kind of hang down like this. And it's the neem tree, which what we put in the neem oil for mosquito.
Yes.
And they
Mm,
have these trees all through Ghana,
right.
so you don't get you don't get bit by mosquitoes.
That's
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to is, you know, like I said, unfortunately and unfortunately, they look towards America, and so I think they are doing away with the things that they grew up that heal them. And just another thing to answer your question to help them is to make them appreciate like what they have. And I think coming from somebody here, even though you know, that's my ancestral land and all that, but still coming from here, um, I think, uh, like I said, unfortunately, that'll probably work in my favor to show them that no, you are beautiful, no, you are like, I wish that I had all of this and make them appreciate it because I've heard from some people, and I'm not saying this is true overall, but I've heard from some people that the people over there, just like every country, you don't appreciate what you have until somebody comes and point it out to you. So just, making them appreciate when you're talking about what are things that I can give to them, just making them
yeah.
appreciate again all the beauty, all the healing that they have right there, that they don't have to look towards America and other countries to get it. It's all right there. So that's what I plan to give to them or contribute.
Good. Very good. When I make the exodus home, I am planning also to establish wellness centers in different places. Wellness centers as opposed to hospitals where people can come
Mhm.
and get healing, alternative medicine, and things like that, which I think would be great in a place where there's a more natural setting for that. And like you said, with the different medicinal plants and herbs that are all around you in Africa, that'd be the perfect place to have something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And sisters, what would you say to people who some of our people don't are not too excited about the repatriation process, or they still have some negative feelings or maybe stereotypes or just not quite informed about the continent? What would you say to them about repatriation? Because some people, when they hear the term Africa, they, because they know so little about it, they don't realize, like you said, it's over 50 countries. They don't realize it's a continent and not
Mhm.
a country, and they don't realize all of the benefits and the wonderful things that Africa has to offer, because in the news media, oftentimes what we see here in the West is all the negative. So,
Mhm.
what would you say to people who may be curious about making the repatriation, or who are not quite educated on it? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that first of all, we've learned that you can't listen to what um, Europeans say because they have told us many lies for many years. So you have nothing to lose by just going to see for yourself. You
Mhm.
shouldn't just go by what people tell you. You need to go for yourself. That's number one. Number two is when I went to Ghana, I saw that for those people who think that it's primitive, it's not. It's there are a mixture of villages, and there's also a mixture of places that look very similar to here. They have banks. They have pretty much all the luxuries in many countries in Africa that America has here. So for those who are fearful of going there thinking, oh, they don't have a bank or they don't have a house or they don't have the luxuries that we have over here, that is absolutely positively false. It just is. I don't care what you've heard, it's false. So you will be able to get a lot of the luxuries that you get over here. Um, so that's another thing. Also, um, our ancestors are calling. You know, um, for a lot of people who don't feel comfortable here, like I stated earlier, like when I go to places, um, most of the time I feel overall happy. within myself. But when I go to places, I feel like a stranger here. Now, I want to put the disclaimer: when we go over there, we'll certainly get stares and stuff, not because they feel like we don't belong there, but because we're not from there. As far as born there, but at the same time, it definitely won't be the same as how we feel here. Um, and I would say, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? I mean, I was just telling somebody that today, um, or reading that today on YouTube. I remember I saw a sister. She said, "I'm just tired," and I was like, "Me too." And I've
Yeah.
mentioned that to you all before, and you all have expressed that. I am tired. I am not saying that Africa is going to be absolutely perfect and they're not going to have bad things there. I'm not saying that. But one thing I do know, and what I heard is more nature, it's more peaceful, it's more connection that to our ancestor because they walked around in the land. And lastly, I'm gonna reiterate it. Aren't you tired of just working and not spending time with your kids and just running around like a hamster and never getting too far? Aren't you tired of just working like a slave and not having too much to show for it? Aren't you tired of there not being a village and you're constantly on alert for your life, your kids' life? Aren't you tired of sleepless nights because your son or the men in your family may get killed or locked up? Aren't you tired? So just give it a try. I mean, I hate to say it, but it can't be worse than living here. So just give it a try. And if you don't like it, then you're still an American citizen. You can always come back. But before you die, I think it is imperative to you and to show respect for your ancestors to at least visit the land that they were taken from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What about you, sister?
Okay. Like like the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, I have no desire to take all Black people to Africa. There are Black people who are no good here and will be likewise no good there.
That's true.
I mean, it's just real. It is just real. And we know who we're talking about. I don't even have to say name. We can just even think about what happened yesterday. Okay, just what happened yesterday. You know. But all I can do is just all you can do is share your experience, but there are going to be people who just don't want to go, who will never see it, never understand it, will never want to because they just don't like themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want anything with themselves. This is another quote that the Honorable Mosiah Marcus Garvey also said. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And we are here very rootless. And unless you go back to Africa, you will never connect to your roots. And if you don't want to connect to your roots, you're no good to us.
There you go.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's all I got to say on it. Keep it real simple because I got to watch my mouth. I got to watch my mouth. I'm already on probation.
I went to Egypt in 2006, which was my so far my first and only trip to the continent, and I'm looking forward to many more in the very near future, especially because you two have inspired me so much with your travels and listening to you talk about the travels and your experiences and the impact that Ghana made on you. And
Ethiopia. Let me tell you, Ethiopia is amazing. You gotta go to Ethiopia.
That I plan to do. Yeah, definitely
Ethiopia. Because one of the things that I'm sorry to cut you off, but one of the things that I loved about Ethiopia, I'm so sorry. I have to let people know this.
Okay, go ahead.
Every morning, I will wake up and hear singing from the church, very
Mm.
melodic, right? My ears are ringing. And I woke up and I asked my husband, I was like, after like 2 weeks of hearing it every day, and I'm like, do you hear this every day? And he was like, what? I was like, the church, the singing, the praying, 5 a.m. every day. And he sat there, he looked, he's like, actually, yeah, you hear that every day. Every day that you're there, you hear the spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and that is like, and I just imagine it's like that across the continent. But it was the Orthodox Christian, but even and when we were in Ghana, I could hear when we were near the masjid, I could hear the call to prayer. It's like the spirituality of the people, whether it's the African ancestry or the African spirituality, or even if you're Orthodox, but the connection that the Africans have with God is so different than what I feel here. I felt
Mhm.
more like here. It feels more of a like and I'm going to offend some people. I already know it, but it's more of a show.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Because we would go on the street, and when I don't
That's
care if the
so
woman
true.
had booty shorts on, was
Mhm.
full niqab, whatever, however you dress, not one person will walk across, and they would acknowledge the church in their way,
Mhm.
and it was just a kind of like a humbleness that
Yes.
I saw, and then you see it in their the way they behave and the way they talk, and even the way the men interact with each other and the women interact with each other. The men hold hands and they hug
Mhm.
and they walk on the street, and it's not how these people think here. Because when I was there, I was like, there's gay people. I was ignorant. I asked my husband, there's gay people here. He said, huh? He's like, they're not gay. He said, just men do that here. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. I had to get, like I said, I had to unpack my American way, and the women hug and kiss. It's
Mhm.
it's just you could just kind of here. You're always on your guard. Someone come near you, touch you, like what
Mhm.
you doing?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
wait, it's like you just start
Yeah.
relaxing, and it's a flow.
Yeah.
It's like a real, like, all of a sudden you feel the knots disappear.
Mhm.
The knots just move from your body. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back.
I hear you. What impressed me the one of the many things that impressed me the most when I went to Africa was definitely the spirituality, and it seemed you could really feel that life revolved around their spirituality. You could really feel that and experience that and witness that. And then the kindness and the friendliness of the people, especially well, really all over Egypt when I went, but especially the Nubians. They're very warm, very hospitable, very friendly people. Um, I felt like I was, a long lost family member, or a celebrity almost traveling amongst them because of how friendly they were, how accommodating, how kind, how they go out of their way to show you kindness and respect. I really appreciate that, and it really that was one of the things that I noticed the most about it. I felt so safe there. And the other thing that I noticed is the beautiful landscape and countryside that you don't see
Mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
on television. When you could go there and you really have to experience it for yourself, as you said, so like you have to experience it for yourself. And when you travel outside the cities and just because I'm a nature lover, so when you see
Mhm.
just the earth in its natural state, and the natural resources there, it's breathtaking.
Mhm.
Just to see. It's just something you have to experience. It's more than a travel; it's an experience.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I encourage anyone to definitely make that journey.
Yeah.
Explore the country. Pick some countries that you're interested in. Go and travel. Go and visit. Make it your next journey, and you
yes,
know
a must.
see which one. Yeah, see which one you want to make your home in. Because and then also the people there are welcoming us home. They're calling us home.
Mhm.
And like you
Mhm.
said, the ancestors are calling us home. So it's time to make that journey.
Yeah, but leave your American set because it's the time is different there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know how we have Black people time. We don't know Black people time till you go to Africa.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to a rest stop, you might as well like, okay, let me take my coat off, let me sit down, let me relax. That Africa will force you to relax.
That's
Relax.
right.
Okay.
It will force you to relax. I see why them people are 70 and 80 years old, they move like they're 30.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it would definitely make you relax. Definitely.
All right. Down. Someone text Africa will force you to. All right. Well, thank you, sister, so much for
Thank
tonight's
you.
presentation and for the discussion. Thank you for sharing all of your experiences and your feelings and just sharing your energy and sharing with our family at home what touched you the most about Africa and why you want to repatriate and why our people would definitely benefit from making that move back home. And I want to say also thank you to everyone that was listening and all the people who joined us in the comment section. Thank you, Sister Dima, for allowing this,
Thank you.
for
Mm-hmm.
your encouragement and your love. I really appreciate that. And
Yes. Thank you.
um, yeah, so thank you so much. And everyone have a great rest of the evening.
You
And
too.
also share with them how they can reach out to you and reach you with Sister with the Global Green Book.
Okay. You can actually you can follow me on Instagram, Global Green Book. I have actually two Instagram, but Global Green Book is all about my repatriation progress and what I'm doing and sharing. And on YouTube, I'm also Global Green Book. I make it very easy. And then I have a blog that you can also subscribe to, which you can find Empress, EMPRESS, Kiddist, KIDIST.com. So on there, I share information for continental Africans coming to the West as well, little tips for them, as well as I am sponsoring young entrepreneurs, graphic designers who are designing t-shirts and my manifestation mugs. And I have a couple other resources. And if you want to email me, you can email me at empress.kiddist@gmail.com.
All right, thank you. And Sister Aisha, do you have anything you want to share in your closing?
Um, I just want to say thank you for having me. And hopefully, my experience of going there has or will inspire people who maybe were afraid to go or who thought it was just really expensive to go, will inspire them to go. Um, we need to connect back to the ancestors because some don't feel right, being here. It just doesn't feel complete. And
Mhm.
so I encourage people to at least check it out. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for having me. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's about it.
That's it. Thank you.
Sisters, thank you so very much for taking us on that journey with you,
Oh,
for allowing us to revisit the continent from different eyes, different perspectives, different emotions, and different energies, but they all vibrated to the same pulse that we are
mm,
being called and it is time to answer that calling.
mm,
Um, and Sister Aisha, as you were saying, the ancestors are calling, they absolutely are, but their
yes.
descendants are as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your brothers and your sisters who are alive and breathing and took to the streets of Kenya of Nigeria, of Ghana, of South Africa, of Sudan, carrying the picture of George Floyd, carrying the name of Breonna Taylor, carrying the chants that you are saying here, from the Black Lives Matter Plaza to the streets of the land of the blacks that is Sudan. We were all chanting the same chant. We were all saying enough. We're all saying we are here to get what's ours. And I thank you so, so very much for reaffirming this truth, for reminding our family, our extended family here at Africa Week 2020 of that truth. Because as much as Alexandra is my sister and partner and co-creatrix of this platform. And as much as we sit here and we say Africa is calling, at the end of the day, this is our platform and we're telling people to come through. The more people we have coming through and saying, yes, it's calling because X, Y, Z. Yes, it's calling because 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's calling because of A, B, C. They're all different reasons, but it's all resonating to that same one truth. That for us, as far as we are concerned, as people of African ancestry, it is time.
Absolutely.
And there isn't enough words to express the gratitude that we feel, because I'm from the continent. I am Nubian, and I'm from Sudan, and I grew up in Egypt. And as much as I tell you, come to the continent, I am biased. I am not a diasporan. I'm a continental diasporan, but that's just another name, and it's just another label, and it's just another box, and it's just another thing that has been used to divide us and keep us in our little.
Right.
Yes.
We hear it best when we hear it from our own. And it's really, I'm very grateful for Tamara for holding this panel. I'm really grateful for her for arranging it. And I know there was meant to be a brother on here from the continent. And of course the brother is welcome at any time. This is a family platform, and we say this is an informal conversation, and really we want us to imagine it as a meeting under the virtual family tree. And we say the tree is rooted in Africa, but the branches extend to the diaspora around the world. That being said, I'm grateful the brother didn't join, because this manifests a vision for me. Because Tamara, if you remember, I was telling you, I am seeing a platform, I am seeing a panel called Daughters of the Diaspora, answering Mama Africa. Now, that's not what the name of the panel is, but this is what the panel turned out to be. The Daughters of the Diaspora went to every side of Africa and back and shared that. And so sometimes things work out in a way that is beyond our understanding. Because subhanallah, 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 one more time. We can plan all we want. There's a much greater plan here. And that is what they don't understand.
Exactly.
That is what they can't wrap their head around. And the fact that we are finding one another, and that we are able to share these truths and say, wait, you too? Hang on, you too? Wait, you as well? And that's why we realize we can't believe the media.
Exactly.
We need our own platforms, and we have to only believe and hear ourselves. Because, yeah, the words we hear, they affect us. We carry them with us. They can scar us. They can grow us. They can heal us. They can nurture us. But the words that will affect us the most are the words that come out of us, come out of our own. That's why we need to reaffirm one another. So I thank all of you. I thank each and every one of you. I thank whatever and whoever guided you to make that journey and to come back and to take the time to share your truth with us. Please come back to Africa Week 2020.
Yes.
Each of you with your own panels, each of you with your own sessions, each of you with your way of encouraging us to ask more questions. Family, wherever you're tuning in from the world, whether you are on the continent or in the diaspora, if you have questions, here is their contact information. We have dropped it in the comments, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. Reach out. That is our hashtag. Reach out, fam. Find out ways to amplify. You have people who are looking to come to the continent, to bring jobs, to bring knowledge, but most importantly, they are looking to bring love
Mm-hmm.
and bring their
healing.
soul.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, love is all encompassing. Love comes
Yes.
with light, it comes with healing, it comes with joy, it comes with dance, it comes with music, it comes with elevations and vibrations that this world that
Partnership.
we're here in now
Mm-hmm.
not just doesn't have, it doesn't understand. In Arabic, there is a saying, فَقْدَ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِيهِ. When you are lacking something, you cannot give it. This land here, the United States, has been robbed of its love. The second the original owners of this land got violated and abused, the spirit of this land is angry.
Yes.
And if it is angry, it cannot provide, it cannot love. Africa was violated, but our people remain there. Our people still roam that land, and they roam it in a way that they can say, even though it is a facade, even though this independence, political independence is rubbish, it's not true. Because right now we have people, our own people, who look and speak like us, who are misleading us into thinking that we are free. We are not free because they continue to sell us to the outside. But at the end of the day, we can say it is us. Here in the US, the original owners of this land, and you know this more than I, Tamara, are marginalized, are still fighting to get back what's theirs. So the spirit, the soul of this land is angry. And as long as it is angry, anyone roaming this land will not feel peace.
Yeah.
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 Come home.
True indeed. Yeah.
Come home. That's all I can say. That's all I want to say. And I am glad that I didn't have to say it here, because there's no way I could have expressed it as beautifully as you have, as honestly and as genuinely as you have. Because at the end of the day, it is you who has made that journey. And it is the rest of the family here who will be making a similar journey. I wouldn't know what to let go of before I go, because I am from that land.
Right.
I had to let go of certain things as I came here. I had to unlearn certain things. You are able to tell them what they can and cannot take with them, what to expect, because you grew up here.
Right.
There are things that are embedded in you that are simply nowhere near where my understanding. So I'm so very grateful. Please, please keep telling that, keep sharing that. And if there's any way I can help personally or through the Africa Week 2020 platform to amplify your message, to amplify your journey, to share it, to spread it wider, please let me know.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. I appreciate love you.
Thank you.
Let's see, we have one last comment here. Oh no, just more thanks and more appreciation. So let me put these
Give thanks. Give thanks.
here. You have inspired, you have inspired, you have inspired. Tonight, go to bed knowing that you have inspired at least 5 minds to consider coming home. I say at least because we have 15. I know at least 5 of them have reached.
Exactly.
All right. Well, again, sisters, welcome officially to the Africa Week 2020 family. Know that you are now part of a circle that will continue to call on you, continue to get your guidance and your wisdom and your knowledge for us and for the extended family and for our people as a collective, for our advancement. And with that, I say ashe and thank you.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe. Ashe.